Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present this afternoon's finalists for the IOF Foresters Bowling for Miracles Open. Pete Weber is the 5th seed. He's the PBA's career earnings leader and Triple Crown winner. Kelly Coffman of Topeka, Kansas is his opponent. He's seeking his first PBA title. Amleto Monacelli is 3rd seeded. This 2-time PBA Player of the Year is also a 14-time champion. Next up, Marshall Holman, PBA Hall of Famer and the PBA's 2nd leading money winner. Mike Edwards is the top seed. He is the PBA's most prodigious money winner without benefit of a title. Just 1 game away from his first championship. And that's our outstanding field of 5 for the IOF Foresters Bowling for Miracles Open Finals. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a capacity crowd here in Markham, Ontario. We are happy to be back in Canada, in the Toronto area. It's so beautiful here, and the people are wonderful. In our field, there are 56 titles represented. Nelson Burton Jr. is this with one man who has 21 of those, a PBA Hall of Famer. So we go to Marshall Holman and Bo right now.
Thank you, Chris. If it's comebacks you're looking for, this man fits the bill. Marshall Holman, bowling's all-time leading money winner coming into 1994, now number 2. The last 2 years have been miserable, and many critics have said Marshall Holman is over the hill. What do you think?
Well, Bo, I think I started that rumor, but it's nice to be back. I feel really good, you know, with Petraglia making the telecast and you making the telecast. Hey, there is room for people close to 40 and over.
Thank you, partner. You're a great bowler, and good luck today. And if you like power, power is where it's at today. Today's quintet features the most powerful bowler in professional bowling. He'll be in the opening match, Kelly Coffman. And for great players, 3 of the greatest that ever graced this game are in the field today, Chris.
All right, and there's a lot of money at stake. Out of that $210,000, the winner today will receive $43,000, second $22,500, third $13,000, 4th place $10,000, and 5th $8,000. And we're ready for the handshake and the very first head-to-head match. And we're at Club 300 Bowl, and Pete Weber shook the hand of huge Kelly Coffman. And Pete will shoot first. Pete is 105 pounds lighter than his opponent. 10 pin for the man from Missouri. Now a look at Kelly Coffman from Topeka, Kansas, 6'2", 240, 28-year-older, and he's looking for that first title. Another 10.
Wow, surprisingly, both players starting with a solid 10. Here's the man with the boss ball, the best ball on the tour. He's not only big and strong, but watch the wrist action, the cock, and straight on through the target. Look at that big snap.
Father Virgil was an excellent bowler. And here's a man that toured the state of Kansas for a long time with a very successful softball team. And he still does it when he has the opportunity.
One guy to watch. He can flat make it happen.
And wastes very little time once he gets set. And neither does Pete Weber, who's cleaning off the orange bowling ball. And he's on the right lane now, spare up, shooting in the 2nd frame. Now the game has begun, really.
The familiar profile of Pete Weber, 5 steps, high backswing. He also cocks his wrist in this position, goes straight to the target, right around the 2nd arrow. Ball sets up, and both players have bowled identical 1st and 2nd frames.
Looking at the defending champion of the IOF Foresters Open. Double for Pete. And the long look.
Pete likes the ball, keeps it very light, just saws the rack.
Tough shot for Kelly Coffman, who stuck at the line, it appears.
Going high. Let's see the pin action. This is very interesting pin action. How can a player hit the head pin and just get 5 pins? With that sharp breaking hook, there's no deflection. He cuts right through the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
So it's an open frame for strong man Kelly Coffman. Sometimes he pays the price for using so much power.
Well, the upside is I throw a lot of strikes, and I tend to throw a lot of high games, you know, 250s, 260s. And the downside is when I do get into trouble, I can throw a lot of splits and wind up shooting a lot of 150s and 160s. So it kind of balances out. But today I feel like the 260s are in my future.
All right, and he came back with a powerful strike in the 4th frame, trailing by 24. We're in Markham, Ontario, located just north of Toronto, which has the skyline of the past, and then, as you will see, the skyline of the present. We're in Markham, Ontario, a suburb of vast and cosmopolitan Toronto. Championship City. Here's a many-time champion. In fact, 21 is 15 years in the PBA. 31-year-old Pete Weber. Increasing his lead now to 34 pins with that 3-bagger here in the very first game going against Kelly Coffman. Pete Weber has this technical explanation for his lack of consistency in 94.
Well, this year the lanes have been a little wet dry, and I really haven't figured out how to play them. The wet is extremely wet, the dry is dry, and when I find out how to do it, I'll be back.
And Chris, what he means by wet dry is basically oil is not dispersed equally across the lane gutter to gutter, so there's a drier area to the right. His ball has been very sensitive to the dry area and to the oil. It's either skidding too much or hooking too much. And he has to make an adjustment to be consistent. So far in this match, he's been excellent through 5 frames.
Yet this year, he has been a top seed twice. The Showboat and AC Delco, and finished twice, or second, both times. Good comeback by Kelly Coffman, doubling here, keeping that lead within range at 23 pins.
You cannot have a big enough lead against Kelly. He just can strike from anywhere. He takes hardly any time. He knows what he wants to do. He has a great arm swing, powerful fella, and he knows that anything on the right side is fair game for that boss ball. Gets the reverse blowing 2-pin as he hits light. The head pin goes to the sideboard, scatters out the 2, 5, and 8, and the 8-pin does not quite tilt over. Strike there, and he would have reduced Weber's lead down to just 13. Now it'll be 24.
Kelly Coffman in his 8th television appearance as a pro. On the other hand, his opponent, Pete Weber, is in his 68th television appearance.
Both these fellas are going to be around for a long time. They're right in the prime of their bowling years.
How could it miss the 9?
Solid 9. Excellent shot by Pete Weber. Apparently a good hit. The ball does not respect these 3-pound, 6-ounce pins. Reactive resin ball, synthetic lane surface, no contest. 9 count.
Almost fell over the line. He's in a good mood today, Nelson. That's good to see.
I really agree, Chris. I think Pete's worst enemy has been himself and his temperament over the years. I think he's mellowed a lot this year, and he's on his way to being as great as he can be. And that woman has helped quite a bit, Kim Weber.
We'll credit her with a lot.
Peter now with a 23-pin lead, 7th frame.
Again, the scout didn't do its work, though.
Well, he's keeping it in play, Chris. The downfall of Pete Weber has been in the last two matches. You see his ball hitting light, head pin going to the left sideboard, kicking out of that left channel, and misses a 10 pin. His downfall has been a bad frame in the last two matches. So far, he's been in excellent shape.
Just a few miles south of Club 300 Bowl in nearby Toronto, visitors can find the Hockey Hall of Fame, which opened on this site, former bank building location, 9 months ago. Magnificent ceiling of the trophy room. All houses the Stanley Cup and other NHL awards can be found along with inductee plaques. Club 300 Bowl in Markham, Ontario, Canada. IOF Foresters Bowling for Miracles Open. Kelly Coffman is bowling Pete Weber in the first game, trailing by 22. Foundation for an attack. And here is the 1993 Player of the Year, the great Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
Thanks, Chris. I'm here with my old doubles partner, Amleto Monacelli. Amleto, you were Player of the Year in '89 and '90. Last year was kind of for you, but I know you've been bowling really well the last few weeks. How do you think it's going to go out there?
Well, as long as I make good shots and keep my patience and work hard, I'm going to do well.
Amleto looks pretty strong out there, and looks like he's got some good competition.
What a doubles pair. Amleto and Walter Ray. And Kelly Coffman now tightening the screws. He has just doubled. Weber's lead is down to 12. Pete has a spare up, shooting on the right lane in the 8th frame.
High risk, high reward players, almost everyone in the field today. Power players. Weber slides by the head pin, leaving the 2-8 double wood spare. And this spare has given players trouble all week long. If you start at it, it hooks by it. If you hang it out, it can hang. Look out, Peter. Good shot.
All right, tonight on ABC, our friend Dorothy Hamill and the stars of the Ice Capades retell the classic story of Cinderella frozen in time, followed by Secrets Revealed, hosted by William Devane and Kamish, all coming up tonight on ABC.
As we go to the 9th frame, both players have a potential 2:35 game. 2 frames left.
The winner of this game will meet Amleto Monacelli and Marshall Holman.
Here's where Kelly Coffman has to improve his game in championship round play. He has a chance to put the heat on Weber, but he must throw strikes. Use that big weapon, throw the strike ball. He trusted it, but it went way too wide. That ball was perceivably 4 or 5 boards right. Look at this replay. Lays the ball down inside the 3rd arrow, and he was going out to about the 4th board. That time he went out to about the 2nd board, too wide. Luckily avoids the 2-10 split.
Oh, Nelson, trust is a must.
Or your game can be a bust. However, Chelsea Coffman, Kelly's wife, didn't particularly like that shot in the 9th frame, but it's not over for Kelly yet. With 2 strikes here in the 10th frame, can finish with a 2-14 game and make Weber throw at least a spare strike in the 10th for victory. Still a lot of room left.
Splitting through. Goodness.
Well, Kelly has one outside chance of winning this game. He has to make this, but he needs to get the ball over here in the 3-6 zone and drive the 3-pin over in the 4-7 zone. It's a must shot in the 10th frame for any chance. Oh, bad break.
Bad break for Chelsea and Kelly Coffman. As Pete Weber it's a 188 for Kelly Coffman.
Pete needs just a few pins to lock up the match. And that is enough. That's the victory. It's going to be Pete Weber and Amleto Monacelli in match number 2. Pete, best he can finish is 215. Kelly Coffman in the barn at 188. And looks like his daughter dressed him today, or he needs a haircut, that's for sure.
That's one. All right. Pete Weber may be looking forward to the final match against Mike Edwards.
Full count for Pete with the ponytail Pete. Let's call him Petey when he has a ponytail like that. But he's bowled well the first game, 215 with a strike.
215, 188 as this ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC station. The game has ended, and as you see, Pete Weber defeated Kelly Coffman 215 to 188. Each professional with 5 strikes. Now it'll be Weber against Monacelli. And next week is our 14th and final stop on our winter tour of telecasts, and it'll be the General Tire Tournament of Champions, Bo, and tremendous field, more than 52.
Actually 53 players this year. Chris, Dave Davis invoked his right as a former champion to enter the tournament. So let's look at some of the players that are there, and obviously some very, very tough players, all name marquee players. $65,000 first prize next week.
And Jess Stayrook is on the bubble. In other words, if Mike Edwards should win, he's the tournament leader, then Stayrook would be out of that field and Edwards in. But if is a big 2-letter word, isn't it? Here we go now into the second game. Pete Weber going against Amleto Monacelli of Barquisimeto, Venezuela.
Well, advantage Pete Weber. Pete just needs a little confidence in the championship round after 2 disastrous tournaments, one in Las Vegas and one at the Quaker State, and he's off and rolling. Monacelli, I believe, is the toughest player among this field of 5 when he gets lined up. He can hold the pair, as we call it, for longer than any of these players. So let's see how he gets going in the early 3 frames.
Oh, what a kiss.
Little backdoor action there.
It was. Woo.
The classic style of Monacelli, that stutter 5.5-step delivery, the high backswing, very similar to Weber's, except he opens his hand, then drives it straight through this target area, much like Mark Roth did years ago, except Monacelli has more of what we call a modern release, where the ball rolls out, the 2 tripped out to 4, and he's off to a great start.
Leaving a 2 and sleeper 8 on the left lane, Amleto Monacelli.
From a low angle, you see a shot we've seen a number of times today. The ball just barely sliding by the head pin, leaving the 2-8. Third time we've seen that today. And the championship pair setting them up. Basically, the left-hand lane, 11, hangs a little bit more than the right-hand lane. And with synthetic lanes, the ball reacts a little bit more to the oil and a little bit more to the dry. Sets up that type of shot.
Nicely done, Amleto Monacelli, the 32-year-old. Player of the Year, back-to-back 89 and 90.
Pete Weber just playing an ideal shot. He's playing where he slides about in this area. He's going right about between the second and third arrows, driving it right into this zone. Now you can see on the right-hand lane, he'll be more around the second arrow on the tighter lane.
Weber now with that double. Takes a 10-pin lead here in the second match. If you just joined us, he won the first game against Kelly Coffman, 215 to 188.
Now we saw Weber just inside the third arrow on the right-hand lane. Now as he comes up on the left-hand lane, he has a slight edge in the match. He's relaxed from a match win over Kelly Coffman. Plus, he's made the adjustment on this lane. He'll either go with a little less speed, a little bit more turn, and a little more angle outside.
3 in a row. Tomorrow here on ABC, the pursuit of hockey's ultimate goal begins. That's right, the Stanley Cup playoffs get underway with live regional coverage beginning at 1 Eastern, 12 noon Central and Pacific. Then, IndyCar's best take to the streets of Southern California for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. All tomorrow right here on ABC Sports. And we are in Canada. A 2.
Amleto with a big step over and the second to last step. Watch this. Here it is. At perfect. He steps too far to the left, gets the ball inside of his target, stays in that higher oil concentration in the center lane, and slides by the head pin. The 2-pin seems like the pin of choice when you miss, and they're missing mostly to the right today.
Okay.
Monacelli, he's playing an angle pretty deep on the right-hand lane, right around the third arrow. On the left-hand lane, I believe he's going to try to make a move a little bit more between the second and third arrows, or reduce his speed. That's either one will work on the synthetic lanes. Let's see what happens. He needs to hit this lane to get back in contention.
All right. This is our second game of the IOF Foresters. You know, while visiting Toronto's Hockey Hall of Fame, a familiar personality called Wayne Gretzky's 50th goal.
Rangers live, North Mass Coliseum in Edmonton. Barber's got it. Barber clears to Clark. Clark to Anderson. He centers it to Gretzky. Gretzky, he's going down center ice. It's an empty netter. He scores! 50 goals in 39 games. What a great one. Awesome, baby. It's beautiful. The place is going crazy. Oh.
We look forward to the General Tire Tournament of Champions 1 week from today, right here on ABC Live.
George Branham, the defending champion. So far here in Game 2, Pete Weber perfect through 3, leads Amleto Monacelli by 21.
Okay, here's a man in Wellesley, Ontario, made 218 ringers out of a possible 236. Walter A. Williams, Jr.
Thanks, Chris. With me is Marshall. Marshall, you've been a hell of a bowler all these years, and now you're getting ready to go out there and make a TV appearance. How's it going to go?
Well, I'm feeling very confident, Walter. You know, it's been a long time, and it was such a thrill to make the top 5. I feel real loose.
I watched you last night. You look like the old Marshall. He's going to be tough.
Thanks.
2 and 3 of the many reasons that I'm proud to be a part of this series, Bo. Wonderful people.
And wonderful talents.
Oh.
Pete Weber off to a great start. Has put the squeeze on 2-time bowler of the year. Amleto Monacelli. Monacelli trailing by 41. Mandatory he throws some strikes. 5th frame.
That's a double and very important for Amleto Monacelli, whose wife Teresa and sister Angela are building a home for Teresa and Amleto. Teresa, the architect, Angela, the engineer. Be done in about a month.
It's supposed to be beautiful. Now 2 great bowlers, great abilities, have studied the game, armed with great equipment at the zenith of their careers. Neither one of these men will falter. Right now, Monacelli needs a strike to cut Weber's lead to 21. Seriously sensitive to the dry. That's the way the players will call it. You see the shot of Amleto Monacelli. He's moved farther out here on the left-hand lane. You see him crossing closer to the second arrow. Gets it out to the dry part of the lane, which is approximately 41 feet down the surface from the foul line. It takes that big break. He's lucky to get away from the split. Has the 3-6 spare.
Great form, fine follow-through. But Amleto Monacelli here in the second game is going against Pete Weber, who has 5 in a row. Frame number 6. Well, the string ends at 5.
Well, I'm really miffed at that shot by Weber as he goes high and leaves the 3, 9, 10. Needs to get the ball over here between the 3 and 10 and hopefully take out the 9. He'll probably go down the right-hand side of the lane surface to get enough angle on the 3 pin. Well, let's see what happens now, Chris. Weber is finally throwing a ball that is out of character, and that's been his kind of his pro forma this year. He's had the games where he had him well in hand as he had Monacelli on the ropes, and now he's let him off the ropes. A lead that could have been up to 50 pins has now been squandered down to just 18.
Good rebound. In our second game beyond the halfway point. More in a little while. But let's go back to that Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. And it's the tryout of Randy Peterson. ABC, of course, doing the Stanley Cup playoffs. But here is first the slap shot by Randy Peterson. Now watch, he tries to stop a few pucks. ABC's NHL playoff coverage tomorrow, 1 Eastern, noon or this is our tournament leader, Mike Edwards, laughing, slipping at the line, but it's a practice shot. Winner of the game you're watching now, Monacelli and Weber, will face Marshall Holman next. Hit and trouble, leaving the 6-7-10.
Amleto Monacelli, just not enough ball speed to hold the line today on this sharp breaking back end. What he needs to do is get the ball over in the 6-7 zone. The ball will take out the 10. The 6 must be slid across the lane into the 7.
All-out effort. We expect nothing less from this Venezuelan, who has a total of 14 titles. Player of the Year in both 1989 and 90. Here's the man that won titles in 10 consecutive years, going back to 1984, Pete Weber.
Monacelli, for any chance to win the game, must throw some strikes. He has to pick up the ball speed or loft the ball a little bit farther out over the line.
Again, laid it down just beyond the line, Bo.
You're right, Chris, and the ball will not take the proper break. Once it gets to the break point, it makes a transition much too quickly. Instead of curving to the pocket, it snaps to the pocket, and that's always an erratic type of roll.
All right, now it's Pete Weber again, leading by good-sized margin of 33 pins, and he has a strike up. Can increase it to 43. 8th frame.
Pete keeping that ball all in the center of the lane. In the heavier oil concentration of the lane, he has a much better control than his 2 opponents so far. Breaks up the 7-10, but it was a good shot.
Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Beck's Professional Boxing presents undefeated Kennedy McKinney, defending his crown in a rematch for the IBF World Junior Featherweight Championship Live, plus the Wood Memorial Invitational, all next here on ABC. In the ninth, the strike. Here's reaction.
Pete's best shot of the day. Keeps that arm close to his body, rolls the wrist, just nails it. Right now, Pete, even if he got a 9 count out in the 10th frame, would finish with a 2-13 game. So Monacelli, to have any chance, would have to strike out. 9th frame.
Amleto won in Sayville, and he was third at the Johnny Petraglia Open in North Brunswick, New Jersey.
Amleto, the third-ranked bowler on the PBA Tour, IBM computer ranked. Outstanding, excellent player going against bowling's leading money winner, Pete Weber. Right now, 10th frame, Monacelli must strike for any chance.
That's an 0-0.
Well, Monacelli's going to have to settle for something in the 180s. Pete Weber is going to meet Marshall Holman, the 1-2 bowlers, all-time money winners in bowling history in the semifinal match. Pete Weber trying to see really how much hold area I believe he has on that particular shot. You want to see when you can't swing it and trust it. All his opponents have tried that. He's trying to let the ball fall back in the pocket. Not a bad test shot. The game has already been secured.
All right, it's a 209 for Pete Weber to 180 for Amleto Monacelli. This week, Choice Hotels Tip of the Week features bowling mentor Don Johnson.
ABC Sports presents a winning never gets old bowling tip, brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
With me today is 26-time PBA champion, Hall of Famer, and one of the great instructors of our sport today, Don Johnson. Don, what do you have for us?
Well, Bo, what we want to work on today is try to get the ball closer to our ankle. Again, when we get older, we can't rely on as much power as we did when we were younger. So we're going to work on accuracy today. And I want to show you a little tip that we can do with our feet that will really help us get the ball closer to your ankle. Now, here you go see my approach. Now, watch the next to last step coming up. Now, watch how it comes in front of my third step. This is called the tightrope step. Now, as the ball starts down, watch the right knee clear out of the way so this ball can be right next to your ankle. If we get this ball closer to our ankle, our scores have to go up. And again, I think this is really going to help some of the seniors out there today.
Terrific tip from Don Johnson. Work on the pivot step. Keep that arm close to your body. You'll improve your accuracy and your power. And remember, winning never gets old.
2 games completed in the Foresters Open. Weber winning his second, 209 to Monacelli's 180. He had 7 strikes in that game. Here's a man that was so helpful to us. We thank him, Henry DeVries, Vice President of Communications, IOF Foresters. Thank you, Henry. So here in Markham, Ontario, Bo, let's look at the size of the field at 160 and the top 24.
Well, it's actually the top 26 this week, Chris, because we had a couple of players that were injured and have to drop out, and alternates went in. So look for your top favorite in the top 26. Brian Goebel just had a sensational winner. He'll be in the General Tire Tournament of Champions next week, as will Norm Duke. The Beef Voss is on a roll. And you're going to see the line goes down to 26 players. Normally 24 qualify for match play. However, because of the 2 injuries, we had 2 alternates go in. They split the money with the men they replaced. And now coming up, 26, Kevin McGurk.
And next week, it's the General Tire Tournament of Champions in Fair Lawn, Ohio, lovely suburb of Akron. Our 14th and final stop for 1994 here on ABC television. Handshake for the semifinal game. 42 championships between the 2 pros. 21 titles for Marshall Holman, to whom you're looking, and the same for Pete Weber, who has 2 victories today.
Number 1 and 2 all-time professional bowling semifinal match.
What a stubborn 4.
Pete Weber has won his matches by keeping the ball in play, not getting the big open frames and letting his opponent defeat themselves.
Fair for Pete Weber. Now, first time today in competition, you get a look at 39-year-old Marshall Holman. 21 titles, PBA Hall of Famer. Leaving a 2-4.
Well, not a bad shot shooting out of the chute. He's been having some trouble getting the big power, but Holman absolutely a little shorter with his backswing than we normally see, but everything in perfect position. I believe fundamentally, for power, accuracy, arm swing, and approach, the best I've ever seen.
Articulate. He bubbles. And here you see the all-time earnings leaders. Not much difference. If Marshall should win today and Pete lose this game they're playing now, Marshall would regain the #1 spot because it's $43,013 for losing this game.
A little arithmetic, $18,307 difference, and that's American dollars, not Canadian.
There's the Marshall Holman that we've gotten to know from Medford, Oregon. Last win was in Venice, Florida in 1988. He's been on 17 telecasts since his last win.
Weber up near the top all week long, 42 games, 18 qualifying, 24 finals, and he's defeated 2 opponents. This is the semifinal. Weber just out of time on that particular shot. His arm got a little bit away from his body. He cut right across. Look at, he cut across his body. Instead of getting it out near the 3rd arrow, it was close to the 4th arrow. Never gave it a chance. The 3-6-10. Now, Pete Weber on the right-hand lane is playing right around between the 3rd and 4th arrows. And on this lane here, he's trying to get the ball right around the 3rd arrow, and you slide in this zone and use a little bit less speed because this lane is tighter.
Strikes coming into this semifinal match, Pete Weber. And there is the first of this game.
Marshall Holman defeated Pete Weber in the 42nd final game last night with an exciting 250 game. Let's see what happens today.
Marshall takes a 13-pin lead.
Besides his great natural ability, Holman has 2 things I think he does as well as anybody I've ever seen play the game. Number 1, he keeps his head nice and steady. There's no bobbing up and down. And number 2, he has the golden arm swing, always in line with his target. He opens the right shoulder, the right hip, but they're always parallel to his arm swing and to the target line. He has a 13-pin lead, can make it 23.
All but a 7. For handicap golfer, Weber has a handicap of 9.
Here's that real good swing. Doesn't catch all the lift, but once again, a game played with a round ball, i.e. bowling, is 95% accuracy. Holman put the ball in play, and he gets away with an easy spare.
Okay, our semifinal game, about a 3rd way through, a 12-pin lead by Marshall Holman. Toronto is home to Casa Loma, a majestic landmark. It's the legacy of Canadian financier Sir Henry Mill Pilat. This is the round room. Can't corner him there, can you? And this is a conservatory. We're looking at Alessandra Scarpitti, whose dad is mayor of Markham, Ontario, Canada. There's Dad, Mr. Mayor. And the leading man in the average department, too, is Walter Ray Williams, Jr., 226. Here he is.
Thanks, Chris. I'm here with Mike. It's the all-time money leader without a title. You're going to have to bowl one of the all-time money leaders. How's it looking out there?
Well, they're both great players, but I'm just going to have to bowl my own game. I'm just going to bowl myself 10 frames and see what happens.
Well, you bowled great yesterday, and especially last night, so I think if you take that strategy, you'll be right there.
I think so, too.
Oh, and then came a scout.
Weber gets a great break. It'll probably be the 3-pin off the right sideboard. There it goes to the sideboard and takes out the 4. Unusual pin action. He puts Marshall Holman in arrears by 8.
Oh, tough break. Tough.
Well, you're entitled to one mistake every championship round game. Marshall's gotten his out of the way. Make the 4-7. Forget about it. Just get over in here, bounce, gets these 2 out. Forget about bouncing it out and get back on with the business of throwing some strikes. Now here's a key frame for Marshall Holman. A great player like Marshall doesn't go into a slump physically. He goes into a slump mentally. He needs a good frame or 2 here for his confidence to realize that he is still one of the best in the world.
.25 for Marshall Holman, whose most recent TV was 4th seed, and he finished 4th in the AC Delco.
Slides by on the left-hand lane. The tighter of the 2 lanes leaves the 2-5. Has a different spare-making technique, which has worked for him. He throws a top spin shot. Watch this. Cuts the hook way down. Marshall's hand just comes right over the top of the ball. That's an ineffective roll, and that's what you need to make spares. But he's opened the door for Pete Weber, 3 in a row, and take a 32-pin lead, 6th frame.
All but a 7.
The wall shot. Weber sends the ball a little bit wider than we've seen during the other games. Head pin to sideboard. Doesn't take out the 7.
The 34th consecutive season of the Professional Bowlers Tour will kick off Saturday, January 14th in 1995. Coming in the 7th frame of the semifinal game. Pete Weber leading by 21. Capacity crowd here in the Toronto area. The architecture in nearby Toronto has a look of the old and the new. Here is Marshall Holman, trailing by 21 pins, going against Pete Weber, who has 2 victories already today.
Watch Holman steady all the way through with those head and shoulders. Oh. Watch Holman's just nice and steady all the way through. It's one of the things that has made him so great over the years. I do believe the greatest players of all time have kept that head in a parallel as they could to their approach and the floor.
Yes, these great players get coaching, like Marshall attributes his success in the last 4 weeks, especially to Dave Smart, Dave Bozio, and John Jowdy. And Pete credits John Jowdy and Billy Hall.
Right now, Pete realizing he has a 22-pin lead. However, there's a potential 224 left in Marshall Holman, and that could squeeze Weber if he can throw some strikes. Boy, those last 2 shots.
Yes. Beautiful.
Those were confident swings by Marshall Holman. He got a bad break in the 8th frame where he left a solid 8, but he can still win this match and the tournament. Weber still has to perform to stay ahead of Holman. 8th frame.
Big Big double for St. Anne, Missouri's Pete Weber. 31-year-older with 21 titles. He is a Triple Crown winner. Defending champ.
This is the shot that Weber wants. He's on the icy lane surface of the left-hand lane. Gives him a little room left of his target of margin, but he can't throw it too far right. This is to open a commanding lead.
Demonstrative Pete.
See Weber just sawing all over that ball. Head pin's going to do most of the damage.
Big double for Marshall Holman. Next week we head to Akron for our season's grand finale. It's the most coveted title on the tour and the third jewel in bowling's Triple Crown. The General Tire Tournament of Champions, live next Saturday at 3, 2 Central, right here on ABC.
Marshall Holman can still win this match. He must strike on the next 2 balls, and that would force Weber to mark.
Today is $43,000 to the winner of the next game coming up. Next week, it's $65,000.
Marshall contemplating the score. He knows he has a chance. Take your time. Anything can happen. This is the sport of bowling. Don't take it for granted that Weber will mark. Stranger things have happened, but he must throw this strike. Soft. Holman, a pretty solid game. He left the 2-4 in the first frame, threw a double, and left the wall shot 7. 1 errant shot in the 5th. After that, other than this shot, it's bowled very well today.
Good. Look at that. Converting the split. Like it's an everyday affair. What a great champion.
Accuracy, as we said, 95% of the game, and Holman is perfect on that spare. Weber just needs 5 balls.
The winner, Marshall Holman, one of a kind. Pete Weber, soon to become one of a kind. 2 demonstrative players. Pete now has a chance to break that 21 title tie that they each share, and it's going to be a tough opponent and a non-winner named Mike Edwards of Oklahoma City.
Let's give Holman credit. He acquitted himself well. He's back, and he'll be a contender from now on.
108th television appearance for Marshall Holman. 108.
Formidable foe in Pete Weber, who's going to roll out a 250 game.
Pete is in his 68th television appearance. Kim Weber. .256 to 210. Final score of the semifinal game is this ABC Sports presentation. Now the Professional Bowler Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Talented Pete Weber of St. Anne, Missouri, has won 3 games. In the first against Kelly Coffman, in the second against Amleto Monacelli, and then against the legend Marshall Holman, where Pete had 9 strikes, 256 to 210. So it's the championship match now coming up, and it'll be Pete Weber going against Mike Edwards, who's looking for his first championship. And all season long, we were looking for funny videos, amazing bits. So this being our last opportunity, we have one today that I think you'll enjoy. Comes from Alton, Illinois, and a man named Scott Watson rolled an amazing 214 game, throwing every shot between his legs. He went to this style in memory, he says, of his late friend Dale. Okay. Thank you for sending in your videos throughout the year. May try it again in 1995. Now trying their very hardest will be 2 great bowlers, and I'm talking about Mike Edwards just the best at earning the money and yet to get that first win. And, of course, Pete Weber, 21 championships. So we're going to learn more up close and personal on Mike Edwards of Oklahoma.
I'm almost half American Indian, almost half Irish. I'm a little French, but I show most of my American Indian. I'm Cherokee and Choctaw and Creek.
He was in an all-Indian Boy Scout troop, and they learned all the skills of scouting and the Indian way of survival and outdoors and all that. And he's been exposed to a lot of the Indian culture where we tried to see that he did. And we're just very, very proud of him, of his accomplishments.
Equally proud of Mike's accomplishments is his wife, Meg, who travels with Mike on tour.
Not many wives can go out and appreciate what their husbands do or know what they do. Like if you go to the office, you can bring home office stories, but most of them are horror stories, you know, and this way I can appreciate what Mike does, and he doesn't have to bring his work home. We can talk about it. And we do a lot of sharing, and he's like my best friend out on the tour, and we spend a lot of time together.
Mike Edwards holds the dubious distinction of having the highest career earnings total without winning a title. He's come close several times, including his first finals appearance in 1985. His top five finishes in 1991 have proven that Mike is ready. The only question is, when?
And I could win the next tournament I bowl. I try to win every week. I try to win every tournament that I bowl. It's not like I'm going out there trying to finish second. I mean, I want to win. I mean, I'm a competitive person. I like winning in anything that I do. You know, and it's just, I always say, you know, it's just, it's going to happen. Things are going to happen, and it's going to happen good for me, and I'm just be patient and wait and see.
There he is. Well liked. Lovely couple, Meg and Mike, and his dad and mom, Jim and Jean, whom I've known a long time. Proud representatives of the Indian nations in Oklahoma. And here he is with an opportunity as the top seed. One game against the mighty Pete Weber. First shot, Mike Edwards. Two, 4, 5.
All right, not too bad. An aggressive shot. That's what I look for out of Mike Edwards. Not a protective type shot to saying, well, I just hope I bowl a good game. He's got to go out here and say, I don't care if I bowl 140, I want to win, and you have to be aggressive. He was on that shot. Imperative he makes it the spare in the early going just to get off to a good start.
All right, marking with a spare. Usually Meg, his wife, travels with him, but she's back in Oklahoma because of work. I'm sure she's there watching. And here now is Pete Weber. 3 victories. Last game, 256 with 9 strikes. Three, 6-10 on the right lane.
He kind of hangs in the thumb hole a little bit, turns the ball early, drifts high, gets a 3-6-10. See, he gets his hand around the ball a little quickly, drifts high. He's had this spare a couple of times, has been perfect at making it today.
Winner of this one match, head-to-head, $43,000. The runner-up, $22,500. Marshall Holman took home a check for $13,000.
Pete Weber still bowls league occasionally in the St. Louis area. 1991, league average of 237. I've known this young man all his life. He started bowling at age 2. His first perfect game came at age 12, his first game ever in league.
This is Club 300 bowl owned by Dr. Simon Mock. Second year that we've come here for the IOF Foresters Bowling for Miracles Open. Spare up, second frame. Done with a great deal of confidence here in the championship game.
Mike Edwards has switched to a 5-step delivery, a little more push away. Absolutely perfect position here. He used to be bounced out at that position where he'd have to realign his swing. Gets it inside out. He credits Freddie Borden, the Olympic coach, and Palmer Falgren, another one of his fellow Olympic coaches, of helping correct that from 6 to 5. He says he has more time at the line, and that shot proved it. Match all even, third frame.
Big double by Mike Edwards.
Chris, that's a new Mike Edwards. I've never seen him aggressive. He's always been tentative in the early going. He's a powerful man. Physically, he can take Pete Weber and probably throw him across the bowling lane. But he's always been tentative out on the lanes, and I think that's what he needs to win, and he's shown it in the early going.
And Pete comes right back. So after 3 frames, we are level. We're even here in Markham, Ontario.
Bowl yourself, Mike Edwards, and that's what he's learned.
Ten-pin on the left lane.
Interesting sitting in Mike Edwards' positions, eyes closed, contemplating what he must do, and he hears the crowd go, oh, he wonders what happened to his opponent. It's a 10-pin for Weber.
Okay, this is the championship match. Pete Weber trailing by only 1. More to come. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And let's check out how Mike Edwards is playing the championship here. You can almost see the oil streaks. These are where the players have been rolling the ball. Mike is in this zone on this lane. And over here on the left-hand lane, Mike's a little bit farther in, just inside the third arrow. He's using loft and wrist action to control the pair. He leads by 1, 4th frame.
Leaving a 10-pin on the right lane.
My goodness, awfully, awfully good for a 9 count. Watch this. The good loft, the angle that we spoke about, and he just launches the 6 around the 10.
Mike Edwards attended Tulsa Junior College in Oklahoma, radio, television, film, toward a degree. And his father-in-law is a graduate of the University of Toronto. So he told Mike this week to go to St. Michael's Cathedral, pray for strength for this week.
He has the strength, Chris. I know he can bench press 300, so it has to be intestinal strength and not physical, as the match is even through 4 frames.
Well, that is a different Mike Edwards.
Big-time shot. Going from a 6-step delivery to 5-step, he has more room at the foul line to let the swing come through under pressure. That's always been his trouble, and right now it looks better than ever. But the match is still even. He has the big-time foe, Pete Weber.
And remember, this is Pete's 4th game on our live telecast from Markham, Ontario, in the Toronto area.
Weber taking a re-rack on the left-hand lane. Scoreboard tells the story. All even. Championship game. Edwards trying to win his first title. The money, Duke winning 3 titles this year. Who can forget the Ragman with his perfect game? Deadeye solid. Romek, part of the Kansas connection there, 4 and 5. All of these players will be going to the General Tire next week.
So we're getting some 10-pins here in the championship game by both players. This time it was Weber on the left lane. Continuing to mark.
Match even. Edwards a chance to take the lead for the first time, 6th frame. Pretty good shot. 6 frames. Mike Edwards has bowled like a champion. The match will be even with a spare.
Tournament leader. Grew up in Tulsa, now living in Oklahoma City. Though another of his big rooters in Oklahoma City is in St. Anthony's Hospital, the Yankee great Allie Reynolds, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
And once again, your son, Ted Schenkel. They're in Goshen Hospital, hoping he's feeling better.
You know, he fell asleep last week and didn't hear your plug.
Well, probably a lot of people fall asleep while they're listening to me. However, you can't fall asleep in this championship match. A lot of money at stake, over $40,000 a trip to the Tournament of Champions for this man if he can win his first title. 4 frames left.
Mike, a very deliberate professional, leaving the 10-pin on the left lane. You'll see the clock superimposed on your video screen. Tension in that face and lots of it in Mike Edwards' face. Weber now is up and he has a spare working. He's shooting the 7th frame and there's a 1-pin difference. Pete in the lead. Two.
A hit we've seen quite often today. The ball staying light on the head pin, the 2-pin being one of the combination spares. This match is even. Championship match in Las Vegas. Pete Weber, wide open split. Donated the match to Walter Ray Williams Jr. Championship match, Quaker State. Did the same thing for Hoskins. Has he done it again for Mike Edwards? We'll see in 3 frames.
3 victories this afternoon.
Chris, this is where Mike Edwards absolutely must grab the bull by the horns. He has to slam the door on Weber. You give him a chance and Weber will come back. Here we go.
Another pesky 10.
Don't know what to say. One run round object hits another round object, i.e. the center of the pins. They don't always react identically the same. Nothing good has happened Edwards' way so far, except he has a 15-pin lead. 2 frames left. But Quaker State 1985, Edwards came to the same position against Mike Durbin. Looked like he had the match secured, struck in the 9th, and left a disastrous 4-9 split in the 10th. Right now, it would be very good if he could set up the strike in the 9th, because I'm sure he'll strike in the 10th if he needs it.
Two, 4, 5, 7 on the left lane.
Here's what happens. If he makes it, he maintains his 11-pin lead. If he misses it, they are dead tied. Right now, he has to get the ball in this zone. He just has to kick out. The 7 is the key pin without chopping off the 5. A very difficult spare under any circumstances. However, championship match, even more important.
Just gets it.
What a superb shot.
Superb. Mike Edwards looking for the first win. That's the thing.
The importance of this spare, as you see the 5-pin just getting tilted off its center axis to complete the spare, is that Weber cannot shut out Edwards. Edwards throws 3 strikes. There is nothing Weber can do. Right now, Weber needs 2 strikes to get back in the match.
Memories just off that disastrous split that, well, we've known him since birth, Bo, and it destroyed him. But here he is right back.
Weber has to strike to stay in the match. If he strikes here, there'll be only a 1-pin difference as they go into the final frame. All right, Pete has a little trouble on the left-hand lane in the 8th. He gets a big split. In the 10th, the best he can shoot is 192. Mike Edwards is just going to need a mark for his first title. All right. Once again, Pete Weber with a strike finishes 192.
Okay, 192 after 3 victories prior. Runner-up 22.5, winner 43,000. In case of this man, there's something more important.
Needs a mark for his first title. Here we go. He's a champion.
All right. The Cherokees, Choctaws, and Creek are proud of this man. Tough break for Pete Weber, but it's the first win ever for Mike Edwards. 192 for Pete Weber. And we'll be back with more following this from Markham, Ontario. Yes, with a 203 to 192 victory, Mike Edwards' first championship nets him $43,000. And there he is from Oklahoma. The check from Bob Fagan, IOF Foresters Executive Vice President, and the trophy coming from the mayor of this suburb of Toronto, Markham, Frank Scarpitti. So it's congratulations to Mike Edwards. See you next week at the General Tire Tournament of Champions. So long.